Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachare Yamuna Tira Vanachare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Radha Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Shri Radha Madhav Shri Radha Gopinath ki Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai Shri Gaurnitai ki Jai Divine Grace Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada ki Jai ISKCON Guru Vrinda ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Gyanti Mirandasya Gyanandana Shavake Chaksharan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Swaparantikam Vanchakapatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyacha Patitanam Papanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Utai Mahatpiryaya Mahapura Vibhurit Nirvaikshati Adamasha Purusha Punktai Gunan Sudasya Sudasat Makalan Krishista Bhagavan Macham Sime Hare Krishna. So it is very nice to see you all again. Be back to holy Sydney, North Sydney. Other parts are not so holy as here. And we're all very fortunate today. You know why? Not because I am here. Because today is a very special day. It is the appearance day of Srila Advaita Acharya. And we are fasting today, which should make you really ecstatic. Because if you fast, you can make very fast spiritual progress. You don't have to spend time for eating and digesting. You can just directly absorb yourself in hearing chanting and thinking about Krishna. Anyone knows for how long we're fasting? Huh? Till noon. Okay. So Advaita Acharya is very merciful. So, and we will be reading scheduled verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, and also remembering Srila Advaita Acharya, because we can always connect his appearance with Bhagavatam topic. Okay. So we are reading Canto 9 of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 14, King Pururava enchanted by Urvashi. Text 48. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Eka eva pura veda. Eka eva pura veda. Pranava sarva vanmaya. Pranava sarva vanmaya. Devo Narayana Nanya. Devo Narayana Nanya. Ekognirvarna evacha. Ekognirvarna evacha. Eka eva puraveda. Pranava sarva vanmaya. Deva Narayana Nanya. Ekognirvarna evacha. Deva Narayana Nanya. Eka eva First word is Eka. Anyone else? Eka eva pura veda. Pranava sarva vanmaya. Eva Narayana Nanya. Ekognirvarna evacha. Ekaha, only one. Eva, indeed. Pura, formerly. Vedaha, book of transcendental knowledge. Pranava, Omkara. Sarvavakmaya, consisting of all Vedic mantras. Devaha, the Lord, God. Narayana, only Narayana, was worshipable in the Satya Yuga. Na anyaha, no other. Eka Agni, one division only for Agni. Varnaha, order of life. Evacha, and certainly. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the Satya Yuga, the first millennium, all the Vedic mantras were included in one mantra, Pranava, the root of all Vedic mantras. In other words, The Atharva Veda alone was the source of all Vedic knowledge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan was the only worshipable deity. There was no recommendation for worship of the demigods. Fire was one only and the only order of life in human society. Fire was one only, and the only order of life in human society was known as Hamsa. Purport. In Satya Yuga, there was only one Veda, not four. Later, before the beginning of Kali Yuga, this one Veda, the Atharva Veda, or some say the Yajur Veda, was divided into four, Sama, Yajur, Riga, and Atharva, for the facility of human society. In Satya Yuga, the only mantra was Omkar, Om Tat Sat. The same mantra Omkar is manifested in the mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Unless one is a Brahmana, one cannot utter Omkar and get this desired result. But in Kali Yuga, almost everyone is a Shudra, unfit for pronouncing the Pranava, Omkara. Therefore, the Shastras have recommended the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Omkara is a mantra or Maha Mantra, and Hare Krishna is also a Maha Mantra. The purpose of pronouncing Omkara is to address the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudev. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And the purpose of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra is the same, Hare, or energy of the Lord Krishna, O Lord Krishna, Hare, or energy of the Lord Rama, O Supreme Lord, O Supreme Enjoyer. The only worshipable Lord is Hari, who is the goal of the Vedas, Vedascha Sarvar Aham Eva Vedya. By worshipping the demigods, one worships the different parts of the Lord, just as one might water the branches and twigs of a tree. But worshipping Narayana, the all-merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead, is like pouring water on the root of the tree, thus supplying water to the trunk, branches, twigs, leaves, and so on. In Satya Yuga, people knew how to fulfill the necessities of life simply by worshipping Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The same purpose can be served in this age of Kali by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as recommended in the Bhagavatam. Kitanya Kirtanat Eva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Rajet. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one becomes free from the bondage of material existence and thus becomes eligible to return home, back to Godhead. Eka eva pura veda, pranava sarva vanmaya devanarayana nanya ekognir varna eva cha. In the Satya Yuga, the first millennium, all the Vedic mantras were included in the mantra pranava, the root of all Vedic mantras. In other words, the Atharva Veda alone was the source of all Vedic knowledge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan was the only worshipable deity. There was no recommendation for worship of the demigods. Fire was one only, and the only order of life in human society was known as Hamsa. Maybe we can turn off the fans, otherwise it's not too hot. So, this is very wonderful explanation by Shukadeva Goswami. Conclusion of the Pururava story, helping us to understand how in the beginning everyone was perfect in Satya Yuga. Everyone was Hamsa or Paramahamsa, right?
Hamsa or swan has very special filter in his nose or mouth, so he can filter out milk mixed with water, so he can take the milk and leave the water. So, and those who are spiritually advanced, they are compared to the swans because they have the ability to see the essence, spiritual essence, and leave out illusory manifestations. So this ability to see Krishna in everything is a special characteristic of advanced Vaishnava, as Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, Yamam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam chamaya pashyati. What's the next line? Anyway, it says, those who see me in everything and everything in me, they will be never lost to me, and I will never lose them also. That's right, yeah, thank you. And so this ability is Paramahamsa ability. And in Satya Yuga, everyone was like that. Everyone could see Krishna everywhere, and no one was affected by the illusion. And that's why everything was very simple. Everyone was absorbed in constant meditation on the Supreme Lord and worshipping only Him, Narayan, Narayan. Ayan means shelter. And so the supreme shelter of all living and of all human beings, actually, Nara. So firstly, the Supreme Lord gives shelter to all the human beings because human beings have the capacity or intelligence to take shelter of the Lord. So the supreme shelter of all human beings, Lord Narayan, was the only worshipable Lord. And there was only one scripture, only one Veda, which was later divided. And now we have so many Vedic literatures, they are simply commentaries, upon commentaries, upon commentaries, upon commentaries. So, in the beginning, there was only one word, Om. That's all. There was no need of other Vedic explanations, just Om, that's it. And then, people had to be explained what is Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Om is worshipable Lord Vasudev, right, etc. So all the Vedic literatures, they just explanations of what is Om. So Om is considered to be the bija, the seed of all Vedic literature. The original sound vibration. Bible says the same thing, right? That in the beginning there was a word, and the word was with God, and the word was God, if I remember correctly. Never done any biblical studies, but anyway, this is what Bible says. And it's interesting, Srila Prabhupada one time gave a class on Bible. Yeah. On this first, because this is the very first opening verse of the Bible. What is this chapter called? The first chapter of Bible? Genesis, right? Yeah, Genesis 1:1, I think. Yeah. So Prabhupada gave class on this verse. And he was explaining the same thing. So this word was Om. And this word came from the Lord, and it was the Lord. So, because, the spiritual world is personal on the top, but then the bottom part is just an effulgence of Brahman, right? And then when this effulgence of Brahman comes in touch with the material world, so the Om comes first, right? And then it is pure goodness, but then it manifests goodness. So therefore, everyone who lived in Satya Yuga and they were meditating on Om, they were under the influence of goodness and transcendence. So that's why goodness is very conducive for transcendence. And so they were just, they didn't require much rules or regulations. So for them it was just spontaneous, developing their relationship with the Lord and meditating on the Lord. And then we understand that as the ages were progressing, so everything started deteriorating, and then we are here in Kali Yuga, which is complete deterioration. And it's really surprising how we can still somehow or other continue with our Krishna consciousness. Because Prabhupada said, spiritual movement in the material world is impossible proposal. Cannot really happen, but somehow, by the causeless mercy of Lord Chaitanya, it's still happening. Like one Prabhupada disciple shared his experience from seeing Srila Prabhupada one time. Srila Prabhupada came to their temple, and when Prabhupada was coming, it was kind of special thing. Prabhupada's coming and everyone was cleaning something and repairing something and preparing, whatever. It was a big commotion. And somehow devotees have this habit. They would always paint Prabhupada's room and actually the whole temple. They put a fresh paint to make sure that everything is new and nice for Prabhupada. And Prabhupada would come and always complain, why it is such a strong smell of fresh paint? And when he would find out that devotees, would paint the temple every time he comes, he was complaining, he was saying this, there was no need of that. But anyway, devotees would work very, very hard preparing everything for Prabhupada's arrival, cleaning everything, etc. Making big feast. And many times, like few nights before Prabhupada would come, they wouldn't sleep at all. Like 24/7, they would just work preparing everything for Prabhupada. And naturally, by Prabhupada's arrival, everyone would be very, very tired. And probably Prabhupada's class was their first opportunity to kind of sit down. And naturally, we know it very well what happens. If you're very tired and you sit down, right? Immediately you go into samadhi. And Prabhupada was giving Chaitanya Charitamrita class, I think. Anyway, either Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita, and he had his glasses on and he was reading. And this devotee, Bhadrinarayan Swami, he said, I couldn't attend the class, I couldn't be in the class because I had to cook. I was in the kitchen. And at that time they didn't have like the, nowadays, we can hear the class from the kitchen from everywhere, but at the time technology was not so advanced. So devotees had to be in the temple room to hear the class. And he was cooking and he was thinking, I'm missing the whole thing. And he put a pot on the fire and he was thinking, let me just quickly go into the temple room and at least for like few minutes I can hear a bit of the class. And so he ran into the temple room, so he opened the door and he looked inside and he saw this amazing scene, as if someone waved like a magical wand, that everyone was like fast asleep, all the devotees. And Prabhupada was reading the purport, and the purport was saying that this movement is only spreading for no other reason but the causeless mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he had his glasses at the tip of the nose. And then Prabhupada raised his head and looked over the devotees, very surprised. And he said, and this is a fact. So, Vaishnavas are sleeping and services are still happening. And so, we can understand that unlike those people in Satya Yuga who were natural devotees, we are not in that category at all. I mean, I don't want to even say who am I naturally, but definitely not a devotee. But somehow we find ourselves being engaged in devotional service. And, it's like a very simple thing that before joining the movement, before coming across Krishna consciousness movement, how many of us were like thinking of completely renouncing everything material and stopping all types of sense gratification and completely dedicating our lives to devotional service? I mean, maybe one or two, but all of us had, mostly we had different plans in life, right? Career, this and that. And then somehow it all changed. And now we're here sitting on the floor and listening from like old book about how people lived in the past, and wearing very strange dress and shaving our heads, but not even completely, partly shaving heads and putting some clay on the forehead. Very strange lifestyle. Anyone was planning to live like that? And especially it is strange, if you like have a degree, got a degree, and you could dedicate your life to, like serious career and etc., etc. And then you choose this lifestyle. So for people it's really shocking. How could you do that? And it could be even surprising for us. How could we do that? How could I choose this lifestyle? Like even eating deprivation, sleeping deprivation, so many hardships. And so it's a kind of lifestyle of Paramahamsas. And so how come that we can live this lifestyle? Again, the same reason, causeless mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And who was the main reason who brought Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to this world? Yeah, Srila Advaita Acharya. So we can understand that all of us are highly indebted to Advaita Acharya. Because without him, Lord Chaitanya would never come. And if Lord Chaitanya would never come, we would be, still foolishly pursuing, going full speed towards the cliff. And no one would, able to tell us, stop, don't go there. You'll die. It's like a moth flying into the fire. This is what it is, attracted by the glaring effulgence of illusory energy and going towards miserable death. So this would be our only option. Same what's happening with so many other people. It's like I was in Jagannath Puri one time, and somehow we came like a group of brahmacharis, and we decided to develop some detachment. Maybe it's good to spend some time in crematorium. They have this Svargadvar, they call it. Gateways of heaven. And so it's crematorium. Well, it's a holy place, naturally. Those who die there, they go to the spiritual world. So it's quite justifiable name of the crematorium. And so, a very interesting place. And we've decided, let's go and see how the bodies are burnt. So it's useful to see what the body is and what is the destiny of the body. And when we came, we were very surprised because it's like from Jagannath Puri is relatively big town, and so it only has this one crematorium. So from anywhere in the city, anyone who leaves the body, they bring the body there. And it's like at any time, day and night, like on average, like 4 or 5 bodies are burnt. So it's like constant flow of the bodies, pretty much. And so we were like sitting there, and suddenly one man was brought in, a young man, and he was dressed very opulently, like silk, dhoti, etc., very kind of opulent kurta, and he was, decorated with garlands. And he was surrounded by, people who were also dressed very nicely. And we were like asking, who is this man? And we were told the story. He was actually groom, and this was his wedding. And so he had to go somewhere on a motorbike, and then he ended up under a truck and died in that accident. And so you just imagine, this is his wedding day, and for most people it's like happy day, right? Happiest occasion. And then you can just imagine at the peak of the material enjoyment, he just dies. And so that was quite a shocking situation. And so this is material life. It doesn't matter if you enjoy or suffer, you'll end up, being dead. And sometimes if you live miserable life, it's actually easier to die because there is not much to lose, right? You think, oh my God, thanks Krishna, it's over. all my troubles are gone now. This life is finished. But if you live very nice life, then just imagine, and you have to die, and you have to lose it all. How much more miserable you become. So material life is like that. The more you try to enjoy, and the more successful you actually are, so it leads you to greater misery. The greater happiness you enjoy, proportionately, you'll have to face greater misery. So this is how cruel material world is. And so, therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that there is no actually happiness in this world. It's only a place of misery. And so, we are very fortunate because by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, we were taken out of that game. And so we have an opportunity to become really happy by developing our relationship with Krishna, with Guru and Vaishnavas, and render eternal service, because there is no death for devotee, right? What they call death in the material world, for devotee, it's just transfer to the perfect service position, right? For devotee, so-called death is the beginning of real life, eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. So you can see that spiritual life is completely opposite to the material life. What is the greatest misery in the material world? For devotees, it becomes the happiest day, real birthday, birth in the spiritual world. And so we have all these opportunities by the mercy of Advaita Acharya. It's very interesting that Advaita Acharya came first, and then Lord Nityananda came, and then Lord Chaitanya came. So by the mercy of Advaita Acharya, we get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, and then by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, we get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And you can see, even like chronologically, in the year, first we have the appearance of Advaita Acharya, then later we have appearance of Lord Nityananda, and then we have appearance of Lord Chaitanya. So it's like ecstasy is increasing by day. And so we will read a little bit about Advaita Acharya. So he was born in 1434, and he lived until 1539. So we can understand that he lived 105 years total. Long lifespan. And so he was born as Kamalaksha Bhattacharya. And so he was born at Navagram Lower. This village is presently situated in Sylhet, district of Bangladesh. Right? Kishore will tell you where it is. And it happened 50 years before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, about 50 years. And so he spent most of his adult life in the town of Shantipur, which is very close to Mayapur. Those who've been to Mayapur festival, this is where we go for prasadam distribution on Govinda Dvadashi day. And so he lived there with his wife. What was the name of Advaita Acharya's wife? Sita, yes. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita. This is how we glorify them. And with his 6 sons, Achyutananda, Krishna Mishra, Gopal Das, Balaram Swarup, and Jagadish. And he was teaching the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad Puran and promoting Bhakti Yoga. The ancestry and life of Advaita Acharya are narrated in a number of biographical works, which include the Balya Lila Sutra of Krishna Das in Sanskrit and Advaita Sutra Kadacha of Krishna Das, Advaita Mangala, Harishchandra Das, and Advaita Prakash of Ishan Nagar. Some people say it's not really authorized. And the Advaita Vilas of Narahari Das in Bengali, so that should be very authorized work by Narahari Das Prabhu. And many of his activities are described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mangala, and Chaitanya Bhagavat. So those who read those books, you came across these descriptions. In his later years, Advaita Acharya became increasingly saddened by the pursuit of materialistic goals that he believed led to a dysfunctional and happy society, and concluded that the only solution was to offer prayers, begging the Supreme Lord Krishna to come as an avatar and attract people back to the joy of the spiritual life. Advaita Acharya is said to have prayed for several months, crying out and worshipping him in the form of the Shalagram Shila with sacred tulsi leaves and Ganges water. At the end of 13 months, so this was serious vrata, for 13 months, he was worshipping the Lord non-stop. During an eclipse of the full moon, his prayers were answered when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born. He is known to have been a close friend of both Chaitanya and Nityananda in their mission of spreading the Hare Krishna mantra. Advaita Acharya is said to have told Chaitanya, "Wherever you are is Vrindavan." He is considered a combined incarnation avatar of both Mahavishnu and Sadashiv. Within the Gaudiya tradition, on the day marking the birth, members hold a celebration in his honor and read and discuss stories of his life. So this is what we're supposed to be doing. Are we celebrating? We're supposed to have a feast in the honor of Advaita Acharya. And special worship for Advaita Acharya. I'm not sure if this is happening in here. Not much is happening. Well, it should be happening actually. And so we know he was a disciple of Madhavendra Puri, and one of the main members of Panchatattva. He was born in a Barendra Brahman family on the 7th day of the bright fortnight of the month of Magha, 1355 Shaka, or 1333 of our era, in the village named Lauda in Srihatta. So this is the exact location of his birthplace. So he was born in 1433 or 1334. There is some difference between the sources which year, exact year he was born. And he met Vidyapati in 1458. And he actually had two wives, Sita Devi and Sri Devi. Achyutananda was born of Sita Devi in 1425 of Shaka or 1503 of our era, followed by Krishnadas, Gopal, Balaram, Swarup and Jagadish Mishra, while Sri Devi gave birth to one son named Shyamdas. This is what Prem Vilas describes. From Lauda, Advaitacharya migrated to the village of Navahata and later to Shantipur. He also had a house at Navadvip. In 1480 Shaka or 1558 AD, at the age of 125 years. It's a little strange. Anyway, he lived over 100, that's for sure. 25 years after the disappearance of Lord Gauranga, Advaitacharya returned to the spiritual world. However, according to Prem Vilas, Advaitacharya was born in Shantipur. He studied the Vedas and other scriptures under a scholar named Shantacharya in Polavati village near Shantipur, where he was awarded the title Acharya. The genealogy of Advaitacharya can be found in Prema Vilasa 24. To verify the meeting of Advaita with Vidyapati, it is known that in 1330 Shaka or 1408 AD, Vidyapati received the endowment of Bishapi village from Shiva Simha, apparently Maharaj. Vidyapati was born around 1307 Shaka, 1385 AD, and was a contemporary of Chandidas. Vidyapati mentions their meeting one another in songs he composed in 1325 Shaka or 1403 AD. One manuscript of the Bhagavat, which was copied by Vidyapati, is still available and carries the date of copying as 1379 Shaka, 1457 AD. Evidence shows that Vidyapati was alive until 1401 Shaka, 1479 AD. In 1485 AD, Advaita Prabhu, at the age of 52, arrived at the room where Lord Gauranga was born. Much earlier, he undertook a pilgrimage. Hence, his meeting with Vidyapati should be taken as a fact. So, we can understand that Vidyapati is very prominent Vaishnava poet. So, we still have a little more time. We'll read the glories of Sri Advaitacharya Prabhu from Chaitanya Charitamrita. How Sri Advaitacharya called Lord Krishna to appear in this world. This is described in Adi Lila 13, text 66 to 71. In the house of Advaitacharya, all the Vaishnavas took pleasure in always talking of Krishna, always worshipping Krishna and always chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But Sri Advaitacharya Prabhu felt pained to see all the people without Krishna consciousness simply merging in material sense enjoyment. So this is very important. So Prabhupada says in the purport, a bona fide devotee of Lord Krishna is always pained to see the fallen condition of the whole world. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, there is no scarcity of anything within the world. The only scarcity is of Krishna consciousness. That is the vision of all pure devotees. Because of this lack of Krishna consciousness in human society, people are suffering terribly, being immersed in an ocean of nescience and sense gratification. A devotee onlooker is very much aggrieved to see such a situation. in the world. So this is very special quality of a devotee, compassion towards suffering conditioned souls. And we can see some people are miserable, some people seem to be happy, right? But we feel sorry for them, especially for those who think that they are happy, going along the street. Oh yeah, mate, I'm all right. And then we know that, they are not going to be all right for very long. So this is unfortunate. And then they meet with serious reverses in their lives, and then they don't know what to do, and they experience so much pain that they have to take some intoxication to kind of relieve themselves of this pain. And so people live such a horrible lives. It's really horrible. I mean, just think about it. Eating pieces of somebody's corpse and drinking some poison. What a life! What a miserable life they live. And they're in such an ignorance that they think it's all right. This is what everybody does, so I'm doing the same thing. So, and the devotees are very compassionate, and so they try to relieve these people from their misery and ignorance. And this compassion is only coming from someone who has that compassion by association. And so today is a very special day for all of us. Appearance Day of Advaita Acharya, the one who was so compassionate and so powerful that he brought the Supreme Lord to this world and made him save all these people. And so Srila Prabhupada was saying that the days of appearance of great personalities give us the opportunity to pray to them directly and ask their mercy, their blessings, in the same way as, people in this world, when they have their birthday, they feel very happy, and whatever you ask them in the birthday, they tend to fulfill your desire, right? Give you whatever you want. And so, in the same way, the appearance days of these great personalities give us the opportunity to ask them directly for anything we want to take, we want to get. And so what's the greatest advantage? We can pray to Advaita Acharya for two things: for unlimited compassion for the fallen conditioned souls, and for power, for spiritual power, which can induce the Supreme Lord to save people, right? So this is what Advaita Acharya did. And so we can see Srila Prabhupada had this mood when he was on the Jaladuta. He was writing in his Markine Bhagavat Dharma song, he was saying that I have no knowledge and I don't have any devotion, but somehow I got this name, Bhaktivedanta, and so if you will be merciful to me, then the real meaning of my name can manifest. That love and devotion as well as knowledge will manifest. And so he was praying to the Supreme Lord. He was saying, by your will they became conditioned, right? And so by your will they can become liberated, right? And so please liberate them, and please make me an instrument in your hands. And so this is a very good example for us. Very deep prayer. And we should be also praying for the same thing, following in his footsteps. So then text 68 and 69, seeing the condition of the world, he began to think seriously of how all these people could be delivered from the clutches of Maya. Sri Advaita Acharya thought, if Krishna himself appears in order to distribute the cult of devotional service, then only will liberation be possible for all people. Purport, just as a condemned person can be relieved by a special favor of the chief executive head, the president or king, so the condemned people of this Kali Yuga can be delivered only by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, or a person especially empowered for this purpose. Srila Advaita Acharya Prabhu desired that the Supreme Personality of Godhead advance himself to deliver the fallen souls of this age. So, even though we are fasting today, but I'm sure we have services to do. And I think we can stop for now. Maybe we can say a few words later about Advaita Acharya, maybe tonight or something. So, any questions, comments anyone has? Otherwise, we'll stop here. So remember Advaita Acharya, increase your devotional service, make special prayer to him, and so this is a very rare opportunity to get special blessing from Srila Advaita Acharya. Srila Advaita Acharya ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantarat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.